What's going on, friends across the internet sphere, and welcome back to the Unassuming Life podcast, where, as always, it's no face, just finance. And today's video is going to be a very interesting one because today should be entry number one. I'm going to call it an entry and not an episode into our brand new series on the podcast called Open Notes. And for those that are not familiar with what Open Notes is, please go back and watch the announcement video that I made earlier before posting this entry. However, since you are here, to give you a quick rundown of what Open Notes is, Open Notes is a brand new series on the podcast where basically I express my raw, unfiltered, unstructured thoughts on life and money and just various ideas that I come across while growing as a young adult, essentially. I don't have any structured show notes per se, and I won't have any structured show notes for episodes, or rather entries in this series. Actually, as I'm speaking to you right now, all I have is my phone and small bullet points that I wanted to touch on, or at least just ideas that I wanted to just mention for this entry today. And on top of that, the entries in this series are going to not really be edited, just so that I can give you like my raw, unfiltered thoughts as well. I'll edit where necessary, but very little editing will go into these videos. And these videos will also be short. The goal is to basically do these videos for about 10 minutes, essentially, for every entry. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. And today's video, or entry rather, I kind of view the entries as like a journal. So it's almost like you guys are looking into like a personal journal and learning more about me and just things that I'm thinking through. But nonetheless, the entry on today is actually going to be talking about my honest thoughts on what I think it's going to take to what I think it's going to take in order to succeed in this world going forward, especially with the introduction and the exponential growth of AI and how fast AI is moving and being adopted. For starters, I know that the world right now is looking very scary for things from like housing costs to food to education, even buying a car. Gone are the days of $700 apartments and $5 Chinese plates. Fingers crossed, maybe we get back to that, but who knows, quite frankly. And on top of that, it almost seems like every time you cut on the news or go on social media, the government is in a circus. It's in an uproar. People are running around with their heads on fire, essentially, right? In fact, for those of you that have not heard, check out what is going on with Jerome Powell. Quite frankly, for those that are not familiar, Jerome Powell is the Federal Reserve chair, or chairman rather, at the Federal Reserve, and the U.S. government has opened up a investigation on him, and in my opinion, is due to the fact that he is not lowering interest rates probably fast enough, or at this rate in which the government wants him to. And so that right there is just a prime example of what I mean by when I say the circus that's going on up in Washington. But I guess the circus isn't nothing or anything new. But that to the side, and that's regardless of whatever party is in office, quite frankly. But that to the side, I think the world is getting to a place where it's becoming less forgiving to those that are new to it. And what I mean by new to it is those that are considered young adults. So if you're in high school, going to college about to graduate, you're in basically any age between, I would say, 18 and 30. I really think that the world is getting to a place where it's not as forgiving on the usual traditional experimentation that usually goes on during those years. And so I wanted today, like I said, to just talk about some ways or just some ideas and thoughts that maybe you can use in order to become a success in this world. Some people call it escaping the rat race or escaping the matrix, whatever you want to call it. There were some things that kind of zipped across my mind earlier this month that I wanted to just share with you all. And so the very first thing that I wanted to share and hopefully give you encouragement despite maybe what you may be feeling, if you are within that age group right now, is unprecedented times calls for unprecedented measures. And so, for anybody that's listening right now to this entry, I want you to be encouraged. And I want to remind you that sometimes life calls for us to do things that may seem weird to others, but that is a necessary for our situation. Some examples of that could include maybe you are moving back home or moving back in with your parents because things are too expensive right now. Maybe that's learning a new skill or getting a side gig or whatever case may be. Maybe that's rooming or getting a roommate whenever you've never had a roommate while living in your apartment by yourself, whatever the case may be. Things like that. I think that we're moving into a time where those unprecedented things for you may have to start being pulled out of the box if you're actually wanting to see yourself get ahead in these unprecedented times. The other thing that I wanted to make mention of, or at least a really good saying rather, that I oftentimes remind myself, and that I have a lot of examples that I can go into. I'm not going to go into them probably during this entry, but that I have experience with. And the saying is, to get something that you've never had means that you have to do things that you've never done. That in itself, I think, is literally going to be the theme going forward if you're wanting to see yourself succeed in this new world that we're trucking into and nobody really knows what the outcome is going to be. Even right now, as we speak, I myself am considering moving back in with my parents. And it's not because I can't necessarily at this moment in time afford to live by myself, but it's more or less because I want to get ahead. And so getting ahead, whereas before I think was a little bit more attainable for people between the ages of 18 and 30 that maybe were a little bit resourceful, maybe a little bit um quick thinking on their feet, like that kind of, I guess, like resourcefulness. I think in today's society it's being multiplied times three, quite frankly. And so, like I said, don't feel disencouraged or don't feel like there's no way to get ahead or anything like that. It's just, I think it's going to take you doing things that you've never done before so that you can get the things that you never had before. And wow, 10 minutes is really almost up now. One of the other things, and probably maybe the last thing that I'll say, that I think it's going to take for us to get through these unprecedented times is taking care and caring for one another. I think coming together as people is what's going to get us through these unfamiliar, weird times. Being kind to one another, loving one another, being patient with one another, and quite frankly, coming together to figure out a solution is what I think is what I think it's going to take for us to have a successful life going forward. Like I said, anybody that's below the age of 30, I truly believe that it's going to take us coming together, thinking on all cylinders and together for us to create the type of future that we are wanting to see and get the results that we so desperately have been wanting, and in getting the life experiences that our maybe parents and their parents had when it came to navigating life. But regardless, it's just a thought. Like I said, 10 minutes is up now. I'm not going to keep you any longer. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And this has been entry number 1 in the Open Note series. Let me know if you enjoyed today's conversation, and I'll catch you in the next video on the Unassuming Life podcast. Take it easy. Be safe. We'll talk soon.